Hello everybody, Epsilon9 here, getting a little bit of practice in with McCree. You do have one more episode of me playing the beta coming out next week, but it took me a little while to get around to editing that. I think I had like 7 or 8 hours of beta footage recorded, and I had to cut it down to like however many episodes. Actually, funny thing is like, the last segment I had recorded was like, I think, like 4 hours of footage. And so I think, I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, that's going to be a little too long, I'll cut this in half. And the first half wound up being like 20 minutes long. Well, I had like 20 minutes of footage from the first half. And then I went over the second half and checked it out and was like, huh. I only have like 6 minutes of footage here that I'm actually like willing to show, and so it's like, well, I'll just tack the 6 minutes onto the 20 minutes, and then I'll have a 26-minute episode, and that will be episode 3 of me playing the beta, which will be coming up next Tuesday. I had a fun time with that. I was debating about whether or not I would keep in the full, like, I think it was 5 minutes of me just sitting there as Bastion in that corner, because it was in the London map, which, hey, I'm still kind of new to Overwatch. I haven't learned the names of all the maps yet. I'm lucky I remember the names of all the characters. Even though, like, I have, like, 3 wallpapers going through cycles between my 2 monitors, and at least half of my frickin' wallpapers in the cycle are Overwatch. I really need to learn the names of the maps. Anyway, it was on that London map, and I found, like, up on the corner, just above the area where the enemy team is supposed to capture, and I just sat there, mowing them down with Bastion. You'll see, like, the highlights of that, of me just talking about how I got those kills, but I was debating about whether or not to keep the full 5 minutes in, and I cut it. So the thing is, I'm playing with McCree right now, specifically because of last night. Last night I was playing a match. It was specifically the match that got me from level 9 to level 10. Even though my team lost. And we lost, I'm thinking specifically because the guy on the enemy team who was playing Winston. That guy was a really good Winston player. He was hopping around all back and forth, so I couldn't get a beat on him. And when you did take shots at him, he's still a giant freaking armored gorilla, so he's going to take a lot of damage. Plus, he's popping out shields, which are a real pain in the ass. I didn't know this about Winston shields, but the whole thing is, friendly fire passes through, enemy fire doesn't, and that works on both sides. So you can pop an enemy shield on a group of enemies, and their bullets won't leave the bubble until they leave the bubble. So you can pop one of Winston's shields on like one of Torbjorn's turrets, and that turret is pretty much useless until that shield goes down. And anytime you actually did deal damage to him, if you actually got that guy down low enough, then he'd just pop his ultimate and go berserker mode and start wrecking shit on everything. And I checked his stats, and I'm thinking that guy was alive for like the whole match, since like the moment he picked Winston, he didn't die. Because he was just that good with it, and Winston is set up to be, like, a character who can't... Yeah, if you're playing Winston that good, where you're ducking most of the shots taken at you, and you can actually, like, take a lot of damage with him, like I just said, and then when you finally do get low enough, chances are you probably have your ultimate charged, and when he gets into his ultimate, boom, full health. So I immediately hopped online, and it's like, what's a good counter for Winston? Now, of course, you got the obvious, like, dickbag answer. Well, everyone's good against everyone else, just gotta get good with every character. I'm like, well, I'm only at level frickin' 10, and I have other games I like to play. I'm going to get good with every character eventually, but for right now, there are some guys who are better at dealing with other characters than other characters are. McCree was one of them. Specifically with a combo that I am very familiar with. Not so much because I use it or because it's been used against me, but because it's something I keep hearing about. Flashbang and Fan the Hammer. Toss out a flashbang to stun a jumping Winston, and then fan the hammer and empty all 6 shots in it. If the chances are that's not going to kill him, But if you combat roll, that's automatically going to refill your revolver, and then you can fan your hammer again into him. That's going to deal a lot of heavy damage. So, McCree is a character who is recommended not just for Winston, but is also recommended against guys like Tracer. Which, yeah, Tracer can still beat McCree, but McCree can beat Tracer, and he's got, like, some moves against Tracer. And he's also good against inexperienced Genji players, because Genji can deflect the flashbang back at McCree, but, you know, that all depends on whether or not the deflect is up or not. Either way, McCree is a character who I need some practice in, and that's why I'm practicing with him. Epsilon, did you upload an entire video just to tell us that? Why can't you do that in private? For the same reason I masturbate in public, because I wanted to talk to people. What the heck are you talking about? I don't know, that just came off the top of my head. So, yeah, the thing is, like, there were some things I wanted to talk about. It's like, I spent the weekend playing Overwatch and had a lot of good times on that. I did get the Origins Edition on Tuesday, but the thing is, well, actually I got it on Monday. And the thing is, like, on Monday I was thinking to myself, you know, I'd kind of like that Soldier 76 statue, and I wouldn't mind having the art book and the soundtrack and that very nifty Collector's Edition box. So I went and ordered the Collector's Edition. So now I have both the Collector's Edition and the Origins Edition. And I wanted to wait and see if the Collector's Edition, because the game came out on Tuesday, and I ordered it on Monday. So technically I did still pre-order it, and thus I got the Widowmaker Noir skin in the Collector's Edition. So I have the Origins Edition that's completely closed up, with the code for the Noir skin in it. I might be able to flip it for a profit, which you might consider me a scalper if I do that, but first of all, I didn't buy the Origins Edition with the intent on doing that. Second of all, there's been a lot of times where I wind up paying way too much for something, and then it goes on sale, like, the next week for, like, significantly lower than what I bought it for. This is one time where I accidentally spent too much money by accidentally buying a lesser edition than what I got, and now I can flip and actually get a profit. Or, at the very least, break even. So yeah, I played it for only about a half as long as some other people. I hit level 10 last night. Meanwhile, I was playing against guys who were, like, in their teens, guys who were, like, level 23 or 26. I saw a couple guys who were, like, level 43 and 46. I'm like, did you ever stop playing Overwatch? Seriously. Now, the levels don't mean much because you don't get boosts per level, but it does indicate how long these guys have played. And I'm thinking, there's really no reason to have a level cap, is there? So it's like a year from now, we're going to see guys like with levels in the hundreds, the thousands, the tens of thousands. Because I can easily see 4-digit levels on those little numbers below each of the player's character icon thing. But I'm having trouble seeing 5-digit numbers. Are we gonna see digits in the? Are we gonna see character levels in the millions within 10 years if this game's still around? I mean, hell, Team Fortress 2's still around after all this time, so why wouldn't Overwatch? Overwatch is just like a better version of Team Fortress 2. Alright, Epsilon, why don't you say shut up? Okay, that's an opinion. I honestly think that Overwatch, in my opinion, my humble opinion that doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot, is better than Team Fortress 2. For a couple of reasons that I'm not going to go into. I'll probably go into them later. The first match I got into, now, there's going to be like, let me do the quick math in my head. There's going to be 11 other guys who are familiar with this match out there, obviously, because of how Overwatch works. My first match, legit match that wasn't in the beta, that the first match I got into since I got the Collector's Edition, was one of the most horrible matches ever. Not because of how badly one side performed or the other, no, it's because we were both good. So, we were pushing the convoy, and it was, The one map where when you're playing the offense and you have to escort the convoy and the offensive team starts in the lab that has like Winston's gun in it, whatever map that is. So we're pushing the convoy, and then we hit the convoy like really close to the end of the map. And meanwhile, this has been an uphill battle the whole time because the enemy team is like really good at doing what they're doing. And then we get to towards the end, and then we go into overtime. And overtime lasted for like 25 fucking minutes. Because, well, partially because of the fact that because of where the convoy was at the time, my team, the offensive team, my team was the offense, we had we had a longer trek to get back to the convoy than the defense team did. And the defense was keeping the convoy where it is very effectively, specifically because of two jackasses who were playing Torbjorn. And they'd always go in that overpass, and they popped two turrets down, and they were really good at playing it, and their ultimates were charging so goddamn fast because there was two of them. Every 10 to 20 seconds, you just hear, Molten Forge! And I'm like, motherfucker! Not to mention the fact you had Tracer running around. That person was good at playing Tracer, and you had a D.Va who was running around. She was good at playing D.Va. I think you had a Mei and a Reinhardt walking around, because you always have a Reinhardt walking around. You always have some jackass who's really good with a Reinhardt walking around with a Reinhardt, because that frickin' shield of 2,000 hit points. 25-minute overtime. We got out of that match. I didn't even care that we lost. I was just happy to be done with it. Guys in the text chat was like, thank God that the nightmare's over. That map was frickin' cancer. So glad I didn't have to hear someone say Molten Forge again that night. I ain't got any hates on Torbjorn. I played Torbjorn the next day. He's a good character. I like playing as Torbjorn. But goddamn, just record Torbjorn saying Molten Forge, and then like put 15 seconds in between it and just loop that for 25 minutes. You're gonna get sick of it real easy. And 25 minutes is only the average, because yeah, sometimes you'll be like 20 seconds. I mean, not put like 15 seconds in between the Molten Forge. Sometimes you got like 20 seconds in between it, but then you'd have like every 10 seconds. Or you'd have it, Molten Forge! 2 seconds, Molten Forge! I love this game. It's a fun game. There's some other tiny little bits of details that I wanted to talk about. Doc Savage? I think that's a DC character. I'm heavily engrossed in nerd culture, which I'll explain in a second, but I'm not very familiar with Doc Savage. I've heard of the character, but I don't know anything about him. Dwayne Johnson has just come out today to confirm that he's going to be playing him. I guess I'll just check out Doc Savage. I don't know. Dwayne Johnson says that Doc Savage is supposedly some sort of bronze weirdo. That sounds interesting to me. But yeah, I saw X-Men Apocalypse over the weekend. I'm not going to go into it, but I'm going to use one example of how ingrained in nerd culture I am. And even I didn't like immediately pick up on the post-credit stinger of the guy Essex. Yeah, took me a minute to figure out who that was. Because when's the last time you seen Mr. Sinister use his human name? Is he even Mr. Sinister now? Because last I checked, he was a woman. Anyway, the only other thing I want to say about X-Men Apocalypse is, first of all, that's not a very good movie. Second of all, Olivia Munn said that she turned down the role of Vanessa in Deadpool. I think something along the lines of, like, she wanted to be a stronger female character. Which, okay, I think it was Marina Baccarin is the woman who played Vanessa in Deadpool. She was very good. She was amazing in that role. She had a lot of character, and she was still feisty and sassy and very strong, despite the fact that she was being held hostage by two superpowered psychopathic freaks of nature. And even helped Deadpool in the end. Yeah? Meanwhile, she turned down that role to prance around in a frickin' leotard and have, like, maybe 4 lines in that movie. Good choice, Munn. You're like, when Ellen Page picked Beyond Two Souls instead of The Last of Us. I'm not sure why she made that decision, but I'm pretty sure she should regret it. And not just because of those nude photos of her that got leaked. What? Yeah. Kind of. Anyway, only other thing is... And remember at the end of Days of Future Past, which if you hadn't seen that by now, why would you watch it now? It's not that good of a movie, honestly. It has a good scene with Quicksilver, that's about it. Same thing with X-Men Apocalypse, it has a good scene with Quicksilver, that's about it. At the end of X-Men Apocalypse, when Wolverine gets hoisted out of the lake, and then apparently it's Stryker who hoisted him out, and then Stryker turns around and he has Mystique's eyes, so Mystique hoisted him out. Nothing comes of that. They set that up that way. It was like, oh, you think that Stryker's gonna have him, but no, Mystique's gonna have him. Not really, though, because the real Stryker gets him, and Mystique never brings up what happened, because apparently the writers were thinking that they were gonna do something clever with the new timeline, and then they couldn't think of anything clever, so they thought, fuck it, we'll just put it back the way it was before. I think it was just yesterday it was announced that Ibuki is coming to Street Fighter V. Cool. I'm not buying it until Jury shows up. I'm gonna say that every single time a new character is announced for Street Fighter V. I only bought Street Fighter 4 for Jury. I'm not even good at playing her, but I still like it. I still like her. And when Jury shows up in Street Fighter V, I'll buy Street Fighter V. I don't have anyone to play it with, and I play it online. I'm gonna get curb stomped. But Jury... what else was there? Jeremy Irons came out and admitted that Batman vs. Superman was muddled. Bit of an understatement. I could go on for an hour about all the bullshit of Batman vs. Superman, and I probably will in a later video. But I don't have the time for this video. I will give credit to Jeremy Irons for two things. One, he is the only person I know of who was attached to Batman vs. Superman and was willing to admit that it wasn't a good movie. And Jeremy Irons also had probably the only good line in that entire movie, where Bruce calls and is like, Alfred, what's going on over there? And Alfred's looking at a video screen of Doomsday just rampaging through the city, and he says in the perfect deadpan British voice, oh, sir, I don't even know where to begin to describe it. So I got some respect for Jeremy Irons. On the flip side, Dan Aykroyd apparently saw a test screening of the new Ghostbusters movie, which I don't have high hopes for. I was I was looking forward to it. When I saw that they were doing another Ghostbusters movie, I was like, yes. And I heard that they were doing an all-female cast. I'm like, that's perfectly fine. I'd be interested to see that. And then I saw the first trailer, and then I went flaccid. And then I saw the second trailer, and I'm like, oh, this looks even worse. Especially because now you're trying to pull out some of your A-list material, and it's falling as flat as your B-list material, and now you've shown pretty much the entire frickin' movie. Now, granted, I don't care about spoilers, but at the same time, it's like, showing your entire, like, all the major plot points and the plot twists in the trailer, that's bad form. I don't care about it too much. In fact, I'm in the very, very, very small minority of people who prefers to see the entire movie in the trailer. So I can see right off the bat. It's like, do I like sitting here for this 2 minutes seeing this movie? No? Then why am I going to like seeing a 2-hour version of it? Meanwhile, if I see, like, the entire movie within 2 minutes, and I like the 2 minutes, then I'd be inclined to see, like, a 2-hour version of it. That's just me. That's just my opinion. Like I said, minority. Very, 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 very tiny, minuscule minority. Anyway, back to Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd had seen a test screening of the Ghostbusters movie, the reboot, and he said that it has more laughs and more scares than the original two. Now, I like Dan Aykroyd, but I don't trust his opinion because this is the same guy who said yes to Caddyshack 2. Not to mention the fact that, I normally know their names offhand, but I'm having a bit of a brain fart right now. The two guys who were responsible for the creation of the Ninja Turtles, they came out and said that Michael Bay's 2014, 2013 Ninja Turtles movie, they said that was actually pretty good. They were wrong. But then again, those guys are well known for being sellouts. They came out with like a relatively dark comic book with the original Ninja Turtles, and then they sold out and created the Saturday morning cartoon version. And they have basically sold out on pretty much every single interpretation of the Ninja Turtles after that. I can't blame them. They struck a gold mine with that franchise. But still, you can't really trust their opinion when they're sitting on fat frickin' wallets. Let's see, what was it? One of the other things I actually wanted to point out was, X-Men Apocalypse comes on at top of the box office, predictable because it is a video game. It's a comic book movie. They always come out like in number one, as far as I know, typically. And Alice in Wonderland comes in second place with, I think... Yeah, what the heck was that number? Let's see. Yeah, 28.1 million. Alice Through the Looking Glass premiered at 28.1 million. It had a budget of 170 million. That movie, not gonna do well. The thing is, like, 170 million, not out there for a big AAA movie, on top of which the last one made like $1 billion. So 170 was like a fair assumption for a safe budget. Guess what? You're losing money on this movie. I'm sorry. Sometimes this crap happens. Captain America only just recently beat out Deadpool for the highest grossing film of 2016. Which, of course, if you told me that Civil War was going to earn more than the Deadpool movie, I would smack you across the face for stating the obvious. But then I would be like, wait, Deadpool at one point was the highest grossing movie of a year? The only way that could happen is if it would premiere in January 1st of that year. And I'm saying this as a Deadpool fan. But, wow, the fact that it was... I know it broke a lot of records, and it set records or some shit like that, but damn. I'm happy to be a Deadpool fan. I have so much pain as a Deadpool fan for such an underappreciated character. And especially since a lot of people just think of Deadpool as, like, the Marvel's equivalent of Bugs Bunny. There was more depth to him than that. You see that depth in the Deadpool movie, doing it a bit more than you would if you pick up any of his more recent comics that are coming out within the past couple years. I'm looking forward to the sequel. Ron Perlman has expressed interest in playing Cable. Now, far be it for me to say Ron Perlman shouldn't take a role, because I love that guy. Anytime I hear Ron Perlman's up for a role, I'm like, yes. This is one instance in which I don't want him to play the role. I think he'd be better at Deathstroke, because he already played the voice of Slade in that one in the Teen Titans cartoon, and he can easily play the part of Slade Wilson in a live-action movie. I don't want to see him play Cable. Dolph Lundgren, I can kind of see. And Lundgren has expressed interest in it, and I'd be fine with Lundgren playing Cable. But Stephen Lang, he wants to play Cable. I want him to play Cable. I wanted him to play Cable back before the Deadpool movie was confirmed. Back before the test footage leaked online, I saw Stephen Lang, and I'm like, God damn, that is a guy who could play an excellent Cable. Yep, and last bit of news that I wanted to bring up was Stan Lee has recently come out and said, well, a little bit of, he said that he's going to be in the East Coast. He's going to be filming 3 cameos for 3 movies. He doesn't know what the cameos will be. He doesn't know what movies they're for, but you can be damn sure that he's going to be there. And he said something along the lines of he was upset with his cameo in Deadpool, because he wasn't on location for that. He shot his, that little moment where he's in the DJ booth, that was on a set, and he kind of wished he could be at the topless bar. Yeah, that sounds like Stan Lee. Not sure if I'll be doing these little tirades every week or every other week. We'll see. This has been fun.